What's going on, legends? It's Aaron here and I'm at Mass Nutrition on the Gold Coast just off Alston Avenue. Today we're getting to know Wes and Carly's story and all the nitty and gritty bits that go into running a business. Let's go! Guys, thank you so much for sponsoring this month's episode. I'm just super stoked to be here. Before we get into the nitty gritty, Carly, ladies first, beauty before brawn. Can you tell us a little bit about how long you have been here with Mass Nutrition and how that actually started?
Yeah, for sure. So we have been here for almost 2 years now. So it was May 2022 that we opened the store. So Mass obviously hadn't been around on the Gold Coast for a little while. I'm originally from Victoria. I had a gym down in Bendigo for almost 10 years, and through that I became involved with Mass Nutrition down there around 2014, 2015, and kind of joked for a fair few years about moving to the Gold Coast and reopening Mass on the Gold Coast and all of that. And then mid-2018 I ended up moving up here, and then...
What made you move from Victoria?
From
having a business for like 10 years?
That one's a little bit of a funny story. So I was competing at the time in WBFF, Bodybuilding Federation, and they decided to do a reality TV show. So these producers from Sydney come up with this idea to do a reality TV show, film 10 bikini girls throughout their prep and competing. So I actually got cast on that as one of the 10 girls, and then I was flying back and forth. We were filming that. It ended up not going ahead. So it did,
celebrity in the house.
So it did end up not actually coming to fruition, but I was pretty much flying back and forth, and then ended up just making the decision to move up here and started working and PTing out of Empire Fitness. Yeah. Yep.
So going back, you mentioned that you had a gym in Victoria for 10 years.
Yes.
Before we go into this current business that you're in now,
Yep.
what did that look like? Like 10 years in business is a massive milestone. Not many businesses get past 12 months.
No, so I was
How old were you?
20 when I opened the gym. Wow. I was 20 when I opened the gym and almost 30 when I closed the gym. So that was a crazy 10 years, but I was 20 years old. So I was, I look back on it now and I was like, oh my God, I was a kid and I had no idea what I was doing.
How did you fund a gym at 20 years old? I think I was still selling cigarettes that I stole off my mum.
So I just started small, to be honest. I was had my first job at 15, was one of those teenagers that ended up working 3 jobs. I was literally working in a nightclub, a pub. I got my traineeship at a gym and was working at a local gym, and then decided to leave that gym and kind of was not sure kind of which direction I was going to go, just started training people from home, and it literally just grew from there. So I started training a few people from home, decided to run a challenge, and I got probably about 30 people sign up to do that. Started running group training sessions, and then, all of a sudden I ran another challenge and had 50, 60 people in it, and then it just kind of went from there.
I think that's an awesome point that you just touched on that you probably didn't realize that you touched on. I've got a friend who does Muay Thai and he wants to get into PTs and have a facility and stuff like that, and I said, just slow down and start training people in a park that you don't have to pay for, and get private PTs one-on-one, do it in a garage, do it wherever you can that is free as you build a clientele to get ready for launch. Would you say that was one of the beneficial things that you did?
100%. Start small and go from there. My background's in martial arts as well. So I ended up, when we did actually have the gym running at full force, I had a Muay Thai club that was renting space off me. I was also running my own Taekwondo club from there, teaching kids from 3 years old up to adults as well. Yep. So along with the actual gym side of things, we had the Taekwondo club and everything else as well. So it was,
And you moved up here, did you say in
2018, middle of 2018, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so before COVID.
Just before COVID, yeah.
Yeah. I was up here for about 2 years before
Wuhan
COVID
was
hit.
probably happening somewhere. It just wasn't on our shores.
So at the time, moving up here was, I had a great manager in my gym and awesome trainers, and I was just kind of flying back and forth between here and Victoria, so it was all sweet until COVID hit.
So you've had the gym, you knew Mass Nutrition, you were in WFBB?
WBFF.
WBFF.
Yeah.
So Mass obviously sponsored you through that as you were doing your...
Yeah, kind of as I was coming into competing and things like that. And my main relationship with Mass was because I had the gym and us kind of working in together down in Bendigo.
So this shop front really that you guys have now on the Gold Coast kind of started almost 10 years ago. The seeds were planted.
Yeah, and it kind of just, I suppose, happened from there. It was probably around the end of 2017 that I started making like jokes that I would like come up here and open Mass, and I don't know if in a way that kind of just manifested, but yeah. 10
years, that's... I keep telling you guys, it's not an overnight thing, business, all right? This took 10 years. All right, well, that's the very just at soil level, that's the beauty part. Now for the brawn part. So you guys, what's interesting about you guys, and it's the same as my wife and I, is you guys have multiple businesses. So one wasn't enough for you both. You wanted to make your life more challenging and more complicated and lots of moving parts. So Wes, what are you currently doing, mate?
So at the moment now I'm doing earth moving. So I own a tipper truck. So I've been doing that for a bit over 6 months now, and just been running that owner operator.
Yeah, it's so good.
Just been driving in every day. Getting out there and having a go.
Yeah, that's unreal. And what was your very first ever business? Like, I know you've had the pressure cleaning business as well, but even well before that, when you were a young fella.
Well, the self-employed, I was doing, like, I've done labouring work and stuff like that, but the pressure washing was my main jump into
the first sort of one where you've gone full steam. Yeah, nice.
With the pressure washing, and obviously that's how I met you, and got that all happening for the few years, and then circumstances changed.
You're pumping.
Yeah, I was flat out. Yeah.
And we will jump into those circumstances very shortly, because that's the main part of this story. I think that's got a bit of a hectic twist to it. So for sure. But Carly, with Mass Nutrition, what have you found as having a shop front? I have no experience in an actual shop front, only like a service-based business where my personality can get a sale, and there's not overheads of rent and electricity, aircon units malfunctioning like we were joking about earlier. What is, like, if someone was looking to start a business, get a shop front, what are some of the challenges that come with that people don't really realise until you're in it?
There's a lot, and I think same as yourself, like I came from PT and fitness industry and like service kind of based business. So even though I feel like I'm in the same industry in the sense of being in like health and fitness, retail is just so different. And it's the same as when I opened the gym. I was learning for that whole 10 years that I had the gym, and learning and making mistakes and learning from that. And then coming into Mass, I guess I was like, okay, I've been in business for 10 years. I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing.
How can it be?
Yeah, and then retail's just such a different ball game, and then there's like managing, obviously your cash flow and your stock levels and things like that, and it's just, it's completely different. So now I'm kind of feeling like I'm learning all over again. Yeah. So I think that's probably my main piece of advice is just be prepared to be constantly learning. Yeah.
100%. I guess you guys are over that first hump of 12 months. That's like the scariest hump. Have you found much of a change from 1 to sort of 2 years where you guys are at now? Like, I noticed your guys' Instagram page, like you have heaps of followers for such a new business.
Yeah.
How did you guys like do that? How did you guys get, I think you got over 5,000
on
followers, the shop, the Gold Coast
on
Mass
the
Nutrition?
Shop. I think we're about 2,000 now.
Sorry.
Yeah. But in saying that, like the social media, I think social media for any business is really important. As much as I suppose, sometimes you do get sick of it, or you get a little less consistent with posting and things like that. It is
trying to be creative.
Yeah, exactly. It is really important, the social media side of things, because at the end of the day, everyone's on their phones. Now everyone's scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and things like that. So with the growth of the business, like what we've found from the first year into the second year is, we are still growing. We're continuously, if we compare, this month to April last year, we're up, it's great. So I think we just got to keep chipping away, and every year seeing that growth. Yeah.
And what's something like, for other people in your situation with a shop front to grow your social media? Like, I know a lot of people in the sports industry might use like sponsored athletes and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys have done?
Definitely. So we have an awesome team of athletes.
Shout him out.
We have,
Let's go.
we have a great group of athletes, like anywhere from, amateur to pro bodybuilders. We've got pro boxers as well. We've got a strongman. We've got a rapper. We've got Chillin' It as well.
There you
So
go. Look
like
out.
it's, we've got, a very like diverse group,
Yeah.
but they are all just like such good people. So that's really helped as well, just getting the word out, and obviously they're constantly like tagging us and sharing the page and things like that. So it does help grow the community.
And like with that, with having sponsored athlete, excuse my lack of knowledge here, it's just not my space, but does that work if you bring on a sponsored athlete, they get their powders, they get whatever they need, then can the customer come forward if they use their code? Is that how that sort of...
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So we give every athlete that comes on board, they get their own code. Normally it's like their name with 10 at the end. And so people can use those codes either in-store or online. So they can purchase like through the Mass Australia website using the codes, or they can come in store and use
Which
the
is
codes
what you would
as
call
well.
affiliate marketing. Is that right? Is that along the same lines? Or is this more of a different...
Yeah, in a way, I suppose it's just more like when they use those codes, the customer gets 10% off in store. So it's
like
more
a
just
win-win.
encouraging them to
Extend your reach.
come in. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of our athletes as well actually are PTs and coaches. So it also helps their client base as well, because their clients can
offer
come
their client
in,
a discount.
they can grab what they need, and their client gets a discount. So it's
That's cool. And what are some gyms? I know there's some local gyms around here. Have you guys linked in with any other local gyms to bring more?
Yeah, definitely. Like we have done a lot with like Snap Fitness down the road, Body Fit down in Labrador. We've got Sharks across the road. We've got Inside Out Health around the corner. Good Life Narang we're doing some stuff with as well. Empire Fitness, of course. Yeah.
I don't think I've asked this question before, but it just came to mind because it's like there's so much involved in getting a business off the ground. Like, you guys understand that. How many hours, like, I'm not talking about like shop opening hours, that included, but how many hours in the last 2 years on average do you think that you're working a week to just keep these wheels turning?
Good question.
Easier to say how
How many do you have left?
Yeah, so I think the first 6 to 7 months we were open, I did 7 days a week. Before we got any like casuals.
Have you got help now?
We do have casuals now that help out when we need, but
That's awesome.
I'm still in here 6 days a week. So yeah, it's a lot, and it's honestly, like you would know, when you're in business, it's from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. It's not like you leave
100%.
you leave your job and you don't think about it. You take everything home with you, and that's what Wes sees and cops at the end of the day as well.
That's why I've got no hair.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You take the, like, obviously having a business, you have a lot more emotional attachment to it.
Such a baby.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we have a quiet day or a quiet week, it's literally an emotional roller coaster. So we have a quiet day, I'll go home and be crying to him, and he cops it all, and then I'll come in the next day and we'll come back and have like a real
You'll have
busy
the best
day.
sale day ever. And
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
You feel bipolar when you have a business. I'm
you
like, am I
do, yeah.
bipolar? Because the weather affects my mood as a roofer. If we had like that rainy month, I'm like, I haven't got an invoice out for 2 weeks. Like, I'm about to start selling my body just to keep the roof over our head. Like, it is like a bipolar
100%.
relationship.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
You do. You
I reckon that's
take
where
it
a lot
all
of people
home with
burn
you.
out and can't stay in business. Isn't for the fact of the business isn't good. It's the fact that the stress that it puts on you. I've had stars. I've had shingle outbreak, like in the early days, like complete breakdowns of just like, how am I going to keep doing this?
100% you do. It's like a lot of people don't talk about like the mental health side of things when it comes to having a business, and it does affect your mental health like greatly.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. I actually see a counsellor probably like every 2 months, sometimes nothing even to talk about, but just so I don't, what you're saying about taking it home to Wes, I got really bad at doing that to my wife, and like I would just come home and just dump, and I'm like, oh, this is actually like, I'm bringing it like too much. So I was like, all right, well, if I can just go dump on someone that I'm paying for, I don't really, that's
you need
fine.
that other outlet.
100%. So outside of like working 175 hours a week, what about you guys parents?
So Wes does have 2 kids.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So I'm a stepmom to them.
You're
so,
a bonus mum.
Yes.
How good.
So he's got a 18-year-old son.
Yeah.
So he lives with us full time.
So good.
And he also has a 10-year-old daughter who's with
how
us
good.
50-50 too. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, you're a mum all day.
So yeah, so it
100%.
is. Yeah, it is.
I've got my
fairly
wife's a
crazy.
stepmom and mum as well, and that's just the same. 100%, that's the same. Same struggles. You're dealing with the same stuff.
Definitely. So
It's a hard balance doing kids and business. I find like to take off this hat and then put on the hat of, phones ringing. I've got to be really intentional of like putting on airplane mode and do not disturb now after a certain time, so I can just like
You got your
just sort of stops. Like
So you're not
doesn't
just
stop.
on it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I think it is crazy. It's like two businesses, 2 kids, 2 dogs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
When you start saying it out loud, hey, you're like, we're psycho. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But it's a hustle. You sound like a hustler, and we'll come back to you shortly. We've done the beauty. Time for the brawn. Wes, so we met probably a couple of years back now in the midst. I remember my business, we were busy. I was like, I need someone to help me with part of the pressure cleaning. And we found your business because I think there was heaps of other businesses tagging you, like getting Wes out here, getting Wes, and I got you out on a job and it was unreal. So how did you start? Like you mentioned that you were working like labour and doing like jobs like that into stepping into NGC pressure cleaning. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, pretty much the way it came about, I was just in a dead end cycle of just labouring work. Just hit and miss, getting, full week one week, couple of days the next, and COVID came about, and I just said, well, now's an opportunity. I'm just going to reset. So just went and got the pressure washing gear. Got some guidance off one of my mates down at Tweed Valley Pressure Washing down there, and he gave me the guidance to get me all trained up properly, and then just started reaching out to people and just nagging everyone to give me a go.
That's actually something that you're really good at that we'll go into with your next business that you're in at the moment. But one thing that I noticed about you at the start when I was looking for pressure cleaning help was you were on the Facebook page that was the pressure cleaning page where everybody jumped. You were on there like commenting. People would ask questions, you'd answer, and that's all free. So you were just giving out free advice. People would recommend you on there. Did you find like using those platforms, same as like it's not marketplace, community pages on Facebook? I've seen you on heaps of those as well. Did you find that helped when you were just kicking off?
It definitely helped when it comes to knowledge and just word of mouth. It's not what you know, it's who you know when it comes to a lot of these sort of style jobs.
Yeah.
So just getting out there, showing the knowledge that you've learnt and taken on board.
Yeah.
And then showing that you can implement it.
Yeah.
And then obviously that just snowballs.
100%.
So
we still use a technique that you showed us when we're cleaning barge caps of hanging the pressure cleaner over the side. I'd never known that before.
That was when we did that complex.
Yeah.
I
thought that was pretty nifty.
Yeah, it was good.
100%. And I remember the first time that I saw you write about that was on the mobile pressure cleaning page, and someone's like, how did you do the barge caps? And you said it, but it wasn't easy to recognise how you would have actually done it until you see it. And then I saw you doing it, I was like, shit, this dude's like Superman. How's he doing that?
Yeah, there's a couple of close calls here and there when it comes to being on a roof.
100%, yeah. Always harness, of course. Yes.
OH&S was through the roof.
Absolutely.
But you just got to have a go. That's the end of the day. You're there to do a job. Do the job, get paid, everyone's happy.
Yeah. So that was COVID, you kicked that off, so like 2020?
2020.
So 2020, fast forward 3 years, business is pumping, you've grown your clientele, you were doing 2 roofs a day every day of the week and then dishing out work when it was an overload. Why are you not in that business anymore?
Well, everything was going great, and then I decided to buy a motocross bike.
Yeah.
And went out to a dirt bike track out of town and became a buster, and ended up breaking my pelvis in half vertically, front and back, broke my lower back, compound fractured my left arm, and shattered my left arm as well.
So overnight you're out of a body and out of a job.
Yeah, I had no insurance, so I had nothing.
That's a top tip right there for any business.
Got to have income protection insurance, and I was in the midst of trying to change it over, and I just dropped the other one while I was doing that, and in that gap,
That can happen so fast. So you don't actually, they're the things that you don't predict on your business plan when you're starting out, that can happen. Like we know another guy who's had a car accident that is now not roofing anymore either. And it, I think he was driving home from visiting you and then game over.
Yeah, another just a freak accident. They always happen. You don't think it'll happen to you, and then next thing you know, you're banged up. And
so you're out, wheelchair, you're completely screwed. You've got the shop running.
Yeah,
the shop was running then, right?
The shop was running. Yeah, we were just on
First
our 12
year.
months.
Yeah. So that's already stressful enough, and now you're completely.
I was
Crazy.
stuck in Brisbane Hospital for 2 months.
It was almost 2 months.
Yeah.
So Carly was working, then driving up every day to see me up there, and then once we finished up there, then I was in a wheelchair for 2 months after homebound.
Yeah.
And that made things a lot easier being at home and in the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
So then we sort of got the ball. I started pressure washing again, and it didn't happen. It wasn't working. The body was too.
Well, you've only just recently, your left arm, you weren't able to move it. You've just got out of another surgery for that. How many surgeries are you up to now?
So I've had my pelvis operated on, which had got an 8-inch bolt across and 3 plates and 6 screws in it. They operated on my arm originally, where they had 16 screws and 4 plates and a compound fractured, and then they've removed one of the bolts out of my forearm with the screws. That was only Friday a week ago.
Yeah.
And they may have to remove the bolt out of my hip in another 2 months. So we'll have to wait and see.
Pretty full. Episode 2 coming soon.
Yeah.
All right, but so the juicy part is you're out of action. You got a brand new business. You got kids. Everything's going on. Life's hectic. Obviously, you can't just not work.
Still got bills?
Still got bills. That's still... So what happened next?
Well, pretty much I did do a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I had a lot of support from a lot of close mates and everyone in the industries and that. They all reached out and helped out, so that relieved a bit of the burden.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just scrapping the pressure washing and went and bought a tipper truck and just said, well, if I can't go up on a roof and clean, I may as well, instead of sitting on the couch, I may as well drive a truck.
You're sitting in a truck instead. That's hustler.
Yeah, so just started driving with my walking stick.
Yeah.
And
Did you like the thought process behind that though? When you're sitting at home, probably feeling like shit, to be honest, because you're used to getting out and providing and doing all the stuff that men do.
100 miles an hour.
100 miles an hour, and then you're couch bound. Were you just like ticking, like, all right, what can I do with a broken body right now?
Yeah, it mainly just came down to what's a low impact job, and what can be sustainable and get a future with it.
Yeah.
And reached out to a few people that.
Did you know people in that industry?
Yeah, I knew a few people in the industry, and just put the feelers out with them. Went for a couple of drives with them, and my dad does it.
Yeah, nice.
He'd done it for 40 years.
Yeah.
So spoke to him about it, and just went, all right, we'll give it a red hot go.
So I'm interested to know, before the truck ever arrived, what did you do then to make sure that you were going to have work? Like, did you get on the blower from when you're like, all right, I'm going to do this? What does that next step look like? Because essentially you've started a business from scratch again.
Yeah.
So what does that process look like? Like, all right, who's moving earth and how can I get...
Yeah, it was mainly, once again, just messaging people, Instagram, Facebook, word of mouth, going out and physically seeing contracts and civil sites and whatnot, and just introducing myself, just putting it in their face.
I think that's where a lot of people never get from idea phase to actually execution, is like, I know even in my younger days, it's like you can overthink and over procrastinate everything. Oh, the Instagram has to look perfect and I've got to have the best equipment and I've got to have X, Y, and Z. And then it's so much that you never actually get started. Where something that I learned off a guy who's done way better than I have and ever will is he's like, sales is the most important thing to get a business just moving. He's like, so you get that first purchase order or that first booking, that creates like a snowball effect that I find, which is just motivation to be like, all right, sweet, like now we've got a business. And then you
get the you do the first job, you got your pictures. The pictures are then on your Instagram and your Facebook. Then when you're applying for new jobs, you can send that picture and say, this is the work I've currently done, and then you get referrals and you just bounce off from one job to another.
100%. my business before it evolved into what it is now, I was literally like scrubbing toilets. Like I was as humble as you could get, doing new builders cleans. And I remember the first time we got a purchase order from Metricon. We got a Metricon purchase order and like Plantation Homes, Coral, like all these big builders, but they were the worst payers.
Yeah.
But we did it for a season because it was just the impact of being like Metricon purchase order. Then all the other smaller builders that paid well would jump on because if they're using it, then they're using it. We end up dropping those bigger ones because it just paid crap. But the initial effect of just getting out, getting in front of them, and then being able to show it.
It's like an award.
Yeah,
It
100%.
shows people, yeah, he can run with the big boys.
Yeah, if he can keep up with that, he can do this for sure. 100%. So what does that look like now? Are you working, obviously you've just come out of surgery again, but are you working like 5 days a week now, 6 days?
Yeah, 5 to 6 days every
Yeah.
week. Just obviously weather dependent, like
Yeah.
when we were roofing.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how wet the sites are. But like as soon as I got it, I've been doing 5 to 6 days every day.
Yeah.
I've had no shortage of work, and
Yeah.
as I said, I've only just had a couple of days off because of this operation. But
Yeah.
I'll be back on Monday.
I bet you probably got someone in your truck driving it for
Yeah,
you.
got a casual bloke driving it
Yeah.
at the moment, and keep the wheels turning, keep the
100%.
customers happy, and you might not make as much profit, but the customer's happy.
Yeah.
And the customer's happy, they'll get you back.
Yeah.
And word of mouth is the key.
100%.
It's get a good referral and everyone's happy.
I think having a business is like almost like a rite of passage. Like I strongly believe like not everyone is designed for business, but I think everyone should have a go at it. So because it makes you a better employee once you understand how a business turns. And like I hear heaps of people like, nah, I can't do it. I can't start a business. And then I hear stories like that, and I'm like, this guy's done it with it. I've used your story heaps of time, and I'm like, I know a guy who's got a broken back who's just like started a business from scratch again. So like I think it's encouraging. Like you got to share that story as much as possible. I know you're a humble dude, but you got to share that story because people that think they can't do it will hear that and be like, oh, maybe if he can do it, I can.
Yeah, I still get people complaining about how sore their back is in a truck,
Yeah.
and I just look at them and I go, I'm still rehabilitating.
Yeah.
I've still got
Yeah.
broken L5 vertebrae and everything, and I'm going, this is all right, mate. It's not that there's harder jobs out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be right.
Go concreting for a week.
Go
Then
roofing,
get a
go
sore back.
concreting,
Yeah.
100%.
anything like that. Go clean a roof.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, mind you, when he went for his truck license, he'd only just started walking.
Yeah.
So he pretty much like got out of the wheelchair, had to relearn
Barely
how to
get
walk.
into the truck.
Yeah,
I had
started.
a walking stick with me.
Yeah, he actually had the walking stick when he went for his truck license. He
What
just
did your
rocked up with it
assessor say?
and just
He was
yeah.
like,
He's like, are you joking?
yeah, he goes, you're right, and I said, I'm right, mate. Let's go.
You got to pass me.
Yeah.
Let's tick this box.
That was within weeks of getting out of a wheelchair and learning how to walk again.
How did you feel about that?
I was a little stressed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was just like, I'm going to do my truck license. And I was like, you've only been walking for about 2 weeks.
You're
And
like,
he was
his
just
pain
like,
meds, he's having too many
yeah,
pain
he's
meds, cut
just
back
like-
his pain meds.
Yeah, he's like, I've got my walking stick. And I was like, all right, yeah, if you can get in and out of the truck, then yeah.
I think that's when we're at our most powerful, is when our back's up against the wall or in a chair,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. Sometimes you just got to do it, eh? So what does the next season look like for Mass Nutrition Gold Coast?
Oh, from here,
Next
we're just
12
trying
months.
to like grow obviously as much as we can. It's obviously tricky being a independent store, owner operated. We're not as obviously out there as the big guys.
Yeah.
But our main focus for Mass is we want to build a community around the store.
That's cool.
We want to have actual proper rapport and relationships with our customers. Every single person that works in the store, all our casuals that help us out are all fully qualified personal trainers.
That's cool. So they actually know what they're talking about. If someone comes in and like,
100%.
I want to do this with my body or that with my body.
100%, and I don't think any other kind of sub store could, say that.
Yeah.
So we know that our customers are coming in and getting, proper advice, actually getting genuine help with their goals, and the people that are working in here, actually have a love for the industry and
care
care.
about it.
They
So
care
why?
about results because they are PTs as well. So so that's a big thing. Just building upon our community, and that's what we want. We want Mass to be a community. Our team of athletes, we're one big family.
No egos.
Yep, no egos. That's what it's all about, is just having
Just one team, eh?
Yep, a really strong community and genuinely wanting to help people, because that's where we've come from.
That's an overlooked thing from businesses a lot, is the community. Everyone's got a horror story. You would have it being in the construction industry, and the boss is just like, there's not actually a community feel to it. Where I know for me and my business, the guys, I'm only a small business, like one full-time staff, and then we have a guy up on the Sunshine Coast that's like an affiliated business. But we do mid-year get-togethers. We did things like Top Golf with other businesses, come together, create a community, work together with each other.
Bounce off each other.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got a whole library of knowledge of other brains, and then you've got referrals. I know I'm constantly, sorry, I'm booked. If they can't wait 2 months for my booking, well, I've got 3 other guys who I know are well priced, licensed in the industry that I can refer, that aren't going to wreck the stigma of our industry, which is, you know, like that.
100%.
All right, guys, we covered like a fair bit of stuff today. I think it's pretty safe to say that some of the top things that we've been talking about is building community for the mass nutrition, and for any business really in general, is a key to a business. We've talked about the hustle mentality of, you know, you're never down and out really until your heart stops ticking. So always give it a crack and get into it. That's an inspiring story, Wes. Carly, we'll start with you. If you had to give one tip to somebody, only one, to somebody that wants to step out into business, or maybe that's new in business, what would your tip be?
Oof, okay. If they're new,
On the spot.
reach out to other people and ask for help.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a huge one, and it doesn't matter whether you've been in business for 10 years or you're new to business. Like, it's the same with Mass. I know I can go to Dave, the owner of Mass Nutrition Australia, at any time, call him, text him, talk to him or his wife Bree, and, you know, they're there to help me. And I know that I can reach out to other people in the industry and reps and other people that have owned stores and things like that. So definitely just don't ever think that you know everything, or that you need to do it alone, because you don't need to. And actually, like, reach out to people and ask questions.
That's a good one. I like that. It comes back to having your community as well, because then you've got people that you can reach out to. Hey,
100%. Yep.
Big Wes, top tip, mate. Don't sugarcoat it. Give it to them.
Yeah. But I think the main thing is just, you know, be persistent, and, you know, just reach out. That's the main thing. You know, if you can be a sponge and make an, you know, intelligent decision after you've listened to everyone that's actually been there and done it, and then you actually, you know, trial it. Okay, that doesn't work for me. Maybe this will, and then you just, you know, work what works for you. And just be persistent with it, you know. As I said, we were saying there's highs and lows, and you've got to ride the wave, and, you know, you don't know unless you have a go at it.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
That's the end result.
And the waves get really big sometimes.
Yeah.
Tsunamis, not waves. Tornadoes, all the stuff. Hey, well, you guys are doing really awesome things on the Gold Coast. I mean, your guys' reach is huge. I know, Wes, you know everybody. Carly, you're in the fitness scene. Everybody knows where you guys are. But for anybody that's looking for their supplements, let's give it a shout out. Where are you located?
Okay, so for all of your supplement needs, we are at 310 Olsen Avenue in Parkwood. So where the Gold Coast University Hospital is and Griffith University, we're directly across the road, next to the pizza shop.
Awesome. Well, I found it easy, so I'm sure everyone else can. And thanks for what you're doing, guys. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate your time. And I can't wait to share this podcast with the world.
Thanks, guys. Good.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.